While the whole world was talking about Tesla, BYD, and the latest EV launches, Toyota quietly made an announcement that has forced the biggest minds in the auto industry to rethink everything. Toyota's CEO stated, "This solid-state battery could change the EV industry forever." The question isn't whether Toyota is doing something new, but rather what Toyota has been hiding, because Toyota never launches anything in a hurry. This is the same company that tests technology for years, perfects it, and only then introduces it to the world. Now imagine what would happen to the EV market if a battery came along that was safer than today's lithium-ion batteries, charged faster, and had a range that would make people forget about petrol and diesel. Currently, the biggest concerns people have before buying an EV are charging time, battery life, and safety. Toyota claims that its solid-state battery can eliminate all three of these fears. This is why Tesla and other EV companies are not taking this news lightly. Because, if Toyota truly brings this technology to the mass market, it could completely redefine EVs. What technology is used in this battery? And, why will this new Toyota battery shake up the entire electric vehicle market? And if this battery hits the market, what will be the future of Tesla, BYD, and other EV giants? The answers to all these questions will gradually unfold in this video, so be sure to watch until the end. And before we proceed, please subscribe to the channel so you can be among the first to see such videos. When we talk about EV or mobile batteries, most people only know that the battery charges and the vehicle runs, but, honestly, the real magic happens inside the battery, which we just can't see. The batteries used in most electric vehicles and phones today are called lithium-ion batteries. Now, the solid-state battery that Toyota is talking about is something that will fundamentally change this system. You don't need to be very technical to understand this. Let's understand it with a simple example. Imagine the battery is a bottle. In today's lithium-ion batteries, there is a liquid inside that bottle. This liquid helps electricity flow from one end to the other. This liquid makes the battery functional, but it's also the biggest problem. Because the liquid heats up, it can leak, burn, and in extreme cases catch fire. You've probably heard in the news many times about electric vehicle or phone batteries catching fire. The biggest reason for this is this liquid. Now, in a solid-state battery, this liquid is completely removed. In its place, there is a solid material, meaning a completely solid substance. Think of it like a stone instead of water. When there's nothing flowing inside, the question of leakage doesn't even arise. The risk of fire is greatly reduced. This is the first and biggest difference. Now the question arises, what's the advantage of removing the liquid? The advantage is that the battery becomes more stable. In today's batteries, if too much heat is generated or there is even a slight problem during charging, the risk increases. In a solid-state battery, heat control becomes easier because there is nothing inside that can melt or spread. This is why companies are claiming that these batteries will be safer. The second major difference is the charging speed. So today's EV batteries charge slowly because the energy flow inside the liquid is limited. If you charge too fast, the battery can actually be damaged. But, in a solid-state battery, the energy flow is smoother and more controlled. This means the battery can handle faster charging. That's why brands like Toyota are saying that in the future, EV charging could take just minutes instead of hours. Now let's talk about range. Today, the biggest fear people have before buying an EV is how far it will go on a single charge. Solid-state batteries have a higher energy density. In simple terms, more power can be stored in a battery of the same size. It's kind of like being able to fit 10 clothes in a bag that previously only held 5. This automatically increases the vehicle's range. Another major advantage is battery life. Today, lithium-ion batteries gradually weaken over time. Their capacity decreases every year. Solid-state batteries experience less wear and tear because the internal chemical reactions are more controlled. This means the battery can function properly for many more years. And honestly, this is a huge relief for EV owners since battery replacement is the most expensive part. So, now a common question arises. If solid-state batteries are so good, Why aren't they on the market yet? Well, the answer comes down to cost and manufacturing. Solid-state batteries are just not easy to manufacture. The materials are expensive, the process is pretty complex, and, honestly, mass production is still a big challenge. This is actually why companies like Toyota have been working on this for years, but they're not rushing into it. Toyota's approach has always been the same. First, fully understand the technology, test it, let it fail, and then make it reliable. The same strategy is really clear with solid-state batteries. Toyota knows that if this technology is launched in a half-baked state and fails, trust will be broken. That's exactly why they're focusing more on preparation than on hype. Today, whenever someone thinks about buying an EV, the first thing that comes to mind isn't excitement, but questions. EVs look futuristic and sure, they drive smoothly, but in reality, there are some problems that almost every EV owner or buyer fears. These problems aren't shown in advertisements, but they come up every day in real life. This is why many people are still hesitant to switch from petrol and diesel. The first and biggest problem is range anxiety. In simple terms, it's the fear of what if the charge runs out. So, let's say you bought an EV, and the showroom told you it would go, 400 kilometers on a single charge. But in the real world, with traffic, AC, bad roads, and fast driving, that range drops to something like 250 or maybe 280 kilometers. Now, imagine you're out there on the highway. The next charging station is, say, 40 to 50 kilometers away, and your meter shows just 20% battery. At that moment, you're not really driving the car anymore. You're managing the battery, slowing down, turning off the AC, and, honestly, just constantly staring at the meter. That's what we call range anxiety. The second big problem is slow charging. In a petrol car, it takes, 5 minutes to fill the tank and you're back on the road. But it's not like that with an EV. Even with a fast charger, it takes 30 to 40 minutes, and with a normal charger, you're looking at 6 to 8 hours. Now imagine you're on a long trip. Your family is with you. The kids are getting restless and, to make things worse, there are already 2 cars at the charging station. An hour just goes by waiting for your turn.